All the townsfolk, they are fast asleep.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello and welcome back.
Yes, welcome back to the sixth episode of Other Animals.
We've really made it. We made it this far. Congrats.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
We did it.
So, this episode we have Bovely, who I know mostly as an artist who posts stuff in Showcase every once in a while. Although I think they have been joining the call chats a bit more often. And yeah, why don't we introduce ourselves?
Yeah. I mean, I'm Boby. She, her. I live in the SGAP server. You've probably seen me there if you're in there. I'm the co-host alongside my friend Daniel. Hello, Daniel.
Hey, I'm Daniel. Yeah, he, they. And if you've been listening to the episodes, you already know about me. I also live in the SGAP server, as well as a few different places in the world.
Very true.
Yeah.
Bovely.
Hi. I'm Clem. They them. Hey, that rhymed. Okay. I'm also in the SGAP server. I've been here a few years. I think since 2018. I'm from the US. I'm on Discord a lot, so if anyone wants to talk to me, feel free. Yeah. And I'm Bovely pretty much everywhere online, named after like one of my childhood stuffed animals. Yeah.
Aw.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, I can like send you pictures of her in the chat a bit later if you want. She's like just a little stuffed bunny, like
You should.
like with like a purple dress. Like the whole like Bovely is like lovely, but B for bunny.
Ah, that's
really cute.
name. Really
Thanks.
nice.
I remember for the longest time, I thought it was pronounced Bovely for like years until I asked and you're like, oh, it's Bovely. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah,
My
that's
world
pretty
has
common. Like around half of my friends like mispronounce it, but I don't really care. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I've heard it said like 5 different ways.
I think it really matches your aesthetic, the kidcore vibes.
I guess so, yeah. I never really thought about it that way, but I could see it.
Yeah, you post a lot of really cool art on the server very frequently. I'm a big fan of the Bovely art dumps that will come, and I get like 10 or sometimes pictures. They're all very aesthetically pleasing. Can you talk about your art for a bit and talk about like what your inspirations are for that sort of stuff?
Yeah, sure. Well, like, yeah, I've been posting art on the server for a while. I haven't done that in a while, so I should probably do it again. I have a lot of work from college just sitting on my iPad that I haven't really posted to everywhere yet. I like, yeah, I make like mostly like kind of children's booky, cartoony stuff. I've like, I'm currently like in college, like for illustration. I'm in my 2nd year. I'd hope to do it as a job. Like, I specifically want to like do like illustration or graphic design, like, full time. Like, I'm not exactly sure like what I want to do yet. I'm pretty flexible, but like I would love to work like in like character design, like for games or like virtual pet websites, like, and or like do graphic design like for websites. because those are both things I'm very interested in, and I know especially the latter, there's a big market for like website design, and like there a lot of people, like it's definitely a booming industry, and I'm more likely to find like good jobs and stuff from that. Yeah. I like can show some examples of my work. I don't know how we're gonna do that because podcast.
Yeah, they'll come up on
Audio.
the screen if you have any pictures. If people are on YouTube, they'll be able to see.
Yeah, I
Oh,
could put
yeah,
them in the
true.
videos.
So just send them whenever, and we'll put them up.
Okay. I have like a portfolio website. You can pick some stuff from there. Hold on, I'll get it up.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to ask about your art style because I just think of you as like the art person. Because like the regular art dumps and the really unique style of art, I don't think I've seen like art like yours anywhere else with
Yeah, definitely not.
like the really intricate patterns and the like huge eyes and round heads. It's not quite anime, but it's like and it's not quite Western either. Like it's its own thing. And yeah.
Sometimes
I
like
like that.
psychedelic. That's sort of really cool stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks.
Psychedelic.
I'm really glad you like my stuff and it like stands out to you. Like it means a lot to hear that because sometimes I feel kind of like a one-trick pony. So I'm glad. Well, pony, but like but yeah, like I'm really glad you like my stuff and you think a lot of the stuff that I try to do is coming across through well, like in terms of like that balance between like kind of like Eastern Western aesthetic and like the psychedelia stuff. Like I like I a lot in terms of like the inspiration stuff you were saying, I guess. Like I like I I especially get a lot of inspiration from like flip notes, like the flip note community, like on for like the DS and 3DS. Like
yeah.
I grew up watching a lot of those as a kid, like both on like the website, like for Flipnote Studio, like by Nintendo before that was taken down, like
Hotena?
2014, 2015, I think.
Yeah.
And like later like people upload on YouTube. And Sudomemo, though I don't use that anymore because the guy who runs it's a creep. So but but there's enough mirrors on YouTube that it doesn't really bother me. Like yeah, just like seeing these like short animations like made by like largely other people my age, and like seeing the like wide variety of different styles and just like how much fun everyone is having, like inspires me a lot. Like I actually found out about SGAP like through like a flip note
Oh wow.
by one of my
way.
favorite Flipnote creators. His name's like he goes by Salty Milk and also AC Revolution on some other websites, and like he's like one of the more popular like Flipnote creators. He has a very unique art style. Like it's also like there's like swirls like in the elbows, like lots of really wild character designs, like big teeth, like kind of like really intricate, like, and it's kind of squared off hands. It's kind of hard to describe, but like she did like a video like about with like 40 winks in the background like a few years ago, I think around 2015, and that's where I first found out about SGAP because I liked the song, and like and I looked it up, and this is back when the original upload for 40 Winks was still up, and even though most of SGAP's other work was off the internet or privated at that point, that video was still up, and some of the other collab videos he did were up. And I saw the comments, and like there were all of like both like pony artists and just like regular like people who were like, "Oh, your work's great. I really miss you." And like that made me curious, like about what his other work was like, and like why all these people were saying that. And I just fell down the rabbit hole, and here we are.
Wow, that is like a really amazing story and like kind of crazy way to find SGAP stuff. Like while you were saying that, I watched the animation, the salty milk animation. It's really cool.
We'll
I've never
definitely
seen
put
this.
a link in the description for that.
Yeah, it's very interesting, like very cool character designs. But yeah, I would always hope that there would be more people that find SGAP just by like hearing one of his songs and then thinking, wow, this is amazing, and then, you know, like just stumbling down the, like you said, the rabbit hole of everything, because there is so much stuff. There's not a lot of songs like in the grand scheme of things, but if you're just getting into it, it's like it can be kind of intimidating, but it's very interesting, very easy to just fall right into.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like pony music is already a very like niche thing. Like he was relatively well known in the fandom, but like not super well known. Like the SGAP videos got like a few 100,000 views like while his channel was still active. Like, and so like there's a lot of prior context, and I find that stuff really interesting to learn about, but it's also sometimes kind of inaccessible unless you stumble on that rabbit hole to like really look into his music, you know?
Yeah.
Sure. I think it's really interesting that you found SGAP through an entirely like non-pony context. Because like for me, I discovered him through a speed draw video. It was like fan art of Pinkie Pie, and they had Pinkie Pie swear playing in the background. Yeah, but for you, it was like completely unrelated to ponies, right?
Yeah, it's not ponies in the animation.
Yeah, and like even like as far as I know, Salty Milk's like never done anything related to like ponies like in her work. Like it's all just been like original character stuff, and occasionally like fandom for like the DuckTales series and stuff. So it's completely unrelated other than that song, which I find really interesting.
Were you in the fandom at all, like outside of all of this, or is this like your first and only exposure to like the pony fandom and stuff?
Well, I like a few other like pony like musicians and like people who like made like brony like fan art and like animations and stuff. Like for example, I also really like Candy Gore, basically like cutesy art like with like blood and guts spilling out, like that's like rainbow colored, has sparkles and candy and shit on it. Like, and there are a few artists I follow who do that, like with like Friendship is Magic characters. Like
Mr.
so
Davey?
I do follow like a few creators like from that, and like also just like silly like parody YouTube animations as in general. But I'm not like, I've maybe watched like one or two episodes of the show ever. I don't really consider myself in the fandom. I like the show looks fine, but I don't have like a strong interest to like go watch it. The main like exposure I have to the fandom is here.
Wow.
That is really interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, me neither. That's like, you're probably one of the very few people who aren't in the MLP fandom, but do like So Great and Powerful. One of the questions we were going to ask is what your favorite MLP character was, but like, if you're not in the fandom, then I guess we don't have to.
Do you have one? Anyways, like.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know, like, a lot about the characters personally. I just know, like, their basic character traits and, like, maybe a few clips
Right.
online about them. But I think out of all of them, like, I do like Pinkie Pie the best. Like, she's really cute.
Yeah. Good choice.
Like, yeah, like, I don't think I could really, like, say I could make, like, a more informed decision, like, outside of that. Like, just because I haven't really watched enough of the show.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. Piggy Pie's a bit like the character in your profile picture here. Cotton Candy. They both have cotton candy hair.
You're right. I could see them getting along really well, honestly. Like, the Cotton Candy Cookie's whole thing, like, my profile picture is Cotton Candy from Cookie from Cookie Run, by the way, for anyone who needs context. Like, her whole thing is that, like, she's like a Valentine's Day cookie, and like she's like she's just an absolute sweetheart, and like she writes letters for everyone, like love letters, like not even romantic ones, just like saying nice things to people. And like she has like this like costume you can get, like that's just like a cute little like lavender colored male outfit, and like her whole thing is just like she's like adorable, and like just like this she's basically like the personified version of cotton candy, like sweet, sugary, like something people like. And like I get the similar feeling from Pinkie Pie, though I have heard people say her voice is annoying, but that kind of stuff doesn't really bother me that much, honestly. I'm used to worse.
Yeah.
For sure, that's like exactly like a Pinkie Pie thing to do, like writing platonic love letters to everybody.
Yeah.
It actually brought back a very specific memory. I don't know if anyone listening has heard of. There's an OC called Love Letters, and there was a song about her, I think, written by Griffinilla, who also wrote 40 Winks.
Yeah, I think he at least helped write 40 Winks.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll put that in the description too. Maybe we can check it out.
Listening to 40 Winks, I feel like I hear so much SGAP that I wonder how, like, what Griffinilla is, like, what his contributions were to it. I feel like he might have commented about it somewhere and said, like, oh yeah, I just did this or that or something like that. But I can't remember.
I think
Yeah.
he probably just did the piano.
Yeah, that could very well be the case. But it's such an SGAP song. It's also
it is like the
Rustie
vocals like are what, and like the theming, most of the instrumental, it's all very him.
Yeah. I remember writing like a report for music class in middle school on 40 Winks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That used to be like my favorite by far, and I was like obsessed with it. That was one of the first ones that like I really got into, like one of his first songs I like really kind of got obsessed with. I still like it a lot, but just whenever I hear the drop, I can't not think of Rustie's Slasherr, like the song by the music artist Rustie. Like, it's just it's such a clear inspiration for 40 Winks.
Nice.
For like the drop of 40 Winks, and it's just like sometimes it's hard when you hear like the clear inspiration for something to like not think of it every time you hear the song, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. I'll definitely
But I
put
still
that
love the song.
in the podcast while I'm editing, so everyone can hear what it sounds like.
Yeah. The comparison.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard that song, so it makes me really curious, like, what you're talking about. I want to listen to it now.
Yeah, and like the other one, I think we mentioned on the other episode, on the Avery episode, is that like there's another Rustie song called Globes, which sounds very, very similar to a part in A Beautiful Heart. SGAP's like said that he's directly influenced by Rustie, so you know the parallels are there. But I still like the SGAP songs, of course. They're very good.
It's always nice to like listen to a song and go, hey, wait a minute. I can hear where they got it from.
Yeah.
Or like where they got this sample from.
Mm-hmm. It is fun. It's a fun game. Who sampled?
It's something I wish I could like do more. Like I have maybe like had that moment a few times, maybe like 5 or 6, like ever. But like my dad has it constantly. Like whenever I like shown like any music I like, he's like, oh yeah, they were clearly inspired by so and so. And I'm like, whoa.
Right. I mean, I think that's why you see like with some mashup creators online, they'll just have like so much content, like hundreds and hundreds of mashups, just because like I think some people's brains just work that way, where you hear one song and you hear another over it, or you hear like, you know, some link to it, and then you have to like put it together. Like I'm sure there's tons of people that if they knew how to like create mashups on a computer, that they would be doing it constantly. They probably do it in their heads anyway.
It makes sense. Like sometimes you just get an idea and you're like, these songs would sound funny together.
Yeah, I love doing that. It's very fun.
I want to do that more, but I don't know much about like music stuff. So I feel like I'd need to like figure that out a bit more to really do that.
Yeah. I've tried to make like a tutorial for how to like tempo match and like, you know, match the keys of songs, but it was a mess. I want to make like a more straightforward one on how to do it and like the roadblocks that come with doing it. Because it's not going to work perfect every time. Like if you look up the BPM of one thing and another thing, it's like, it's complicated. Anyways, speaking of music, we need to know your favorite and least favorite SGAP song.
Okay. Let me think. I definitely know that like I know it's debated a fair amount in the fandom if like the 3 Space Pony songs, like they're all should be counted as individual songs or as an EP, that they're all kind of smushed together as one thing. But I definitely would say like those 3 are my favorite, like especially Galaxy. I just really like it. Those 3 songs are my favorite out of SGAP's work.
Yeah, I think it's fine to consider Space Pony as a song. Like a lot of people just list that as like their favorite, but I think of course it's also fine to say like, you know, that you have a favorite part from it. But that's like probably his I don't know. That's been my favorite. Like my answer is favorite for a few years. It's just so different than all of his other stuff. It's like more focused on his vocals and the production.
For sure. I think it's
really
one
good.
of his best work.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just feels so cohesive and complete. Everything fits together nicely, and just it feels so like well thought out, and like the vibes are immaculate.
Yeah, really well said. The vibes are immaculate. There's like callbacks to previous verses. Like I think in Starhopper, there's like verses from Night Glider, and in Galaxy, you've got that really quiet ambient interlude kind of thing. Yeah, really
Yeah.
good.
Like I'm a big fan of like very cohesive like projects in general, like albums, EPs, just songs. Like I've been listening to Dawn FM like by the weekend a lot, and that's a big part of why I really like that album. Like and like a lot of Abel's work in general. Like his albums always feel very cinematic and cohesive. Like if you listen to them all, like all the songs in order, like they feel like they're all a part of the same story. They all make sense together. And like it feels like you're watching a movie or a TV show. And I really like when artists do that. And I think that's a big reason why I like Space Pony so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely is complete in every sense of the word. You know, like it. It's very interesting hearing like the small differences and like, you know, the single versions versus like Space Pony. And sometimes it's cool to listen to like the little extra parts, but I think like listening to it as a whole, as like the release that's called Space Pony, is like, that's always the way I've always done it. And just
Same.
because, you know, I feel like it's missing something if I'm just listening to like one of the parts of it, because of how connected everything feels in it and just like how smooth the transitions are. Like, it's really something special.
Yeah, like I definitely feel like the tracks, all three of them, stand alone pretty well. But I feel like listening to them together, like in the order they were intended as, like really is something else. Like, and
Yeah,
you can tell they were meant to be that way, you know.
for sure.
Yeah. And it reminds me, I think SGAP was planning to do the same thing with Seawinkle, but it never happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard a bit about that.
I just wish it were a thing now. No.
It is sad
Yeah.
that there are so many incomplete SGAP projects. But, you know, I think at this point I'd just like to see whatever new things he wants to put out, because I think while it would be nice in an ideal world to like have all of them complete, you know, maybe like, you know, maybe it's better this way, that we didn't hear the things that he didn't think were up to his standards. It would probably be amazing, but you know.
Yeah, that's a good take. I think, yeah. I mean, like we were saying last time, incompleteness is part of the SGAP aesthetic, I think.
Yep.
Especially the way he ends songs so suddenly.
Oh, I've always loved that. 'Cause it works so well, like if you're listening on shuffle, like every song just transitions into like, you know, the next just seamlessly, because all of them just stop and start.
Yeah.
Only a few of them have like really long drawn out intros, you know, like Seawinkle. But yeah, like I never want an outro. I like when songs just like leave you immediately. It just
Leave
like
you
keeps you
hanging.
wanting to come back for more.
Yeah.
That is one thing I also really appreciate about a lot of SGAP's music. Like, he doesn't really outstay his welcome. Like, he does like what the song needs, and like it just stops. Like
Yes.
there doesn't any part that really of his songs that really feel like filler.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good point. Speaking of filler, do you feel like there is an SGAP song that is not up to standard?
I mean, like, again, like, I don't feel like any of his songs are really bad, or like I wouldn't consider them filler, but there are some songs that like are a little too obscure for me to fully get into, like with how they're made. Like the main example I can think of, like which I guess I would consider my least favorite SGAP track, is probably Rarity. It's very bulky. Like it's not something I could just casually listen to, and I don't really. It's kind of hard for me to get into parts of it, like just because it's so long and like it just does so much.
I really agree with that. I think Rarity is like, it sounds like they're throwing a bunch of ideas around and just hoping that some of them will stick, and like a few of them do.
Yeah.
Some of them are like, some parts of that song are really beautiful and really nice, especially SGAP's parts. But I don't know, it is all over the place, and it's not one I frequently listen to. And if I am going to it at all, I'm just like skipping around it,
Yeah, me too. Like, it just feels very inaccessible to me. Like, there's a lot of good ideas going on. It's just hard for me to really listen to very much because there's so much.
I agree.
I think it would have really benefited being split into like 2 or 3 songs, honestly.
Yeah, I think that song like had a lot of different versions and went through a lot of stages, and
Yeah, wasn't that the one that was like workshop for a year or something?
I think so.
There's like a 45-minute video analyzing like the different stages it went through. Wasn't there? I never watched that whole thing.
I know ATR, like she's like posted a lot of content about the track, which is nice if people like the track, but not to just completely run over this track. Because I know there are people that will defend Rarity like very...
Me? I'm a Rarity fan. I like the song.
I can't wait to get Alex on the podcast so we can talk with him about his love for Rarity.
Oh, yeah.
The song.
The contrast.
He's a big fan. But yeah, I don't know. Not my most favorite either. That's a good pick.
Yeah, someday.
Well, how do you think you would describe the genre of SGAP, Clem? Like, what would you call it?
Well, I agree with like what a lot of people in the other episodes said about this. Like, I definitely think that like the main like thing that SGAP's music falls under is like the plunderphonics like label. Like, he uses a lot of samples. Like, he like especially from like pop culture, like especially being the part of the Brony fandom, but also just like from like philosophers, like podcasts, just all over, like wherever he wants, which is one thing I really like about his music. Like, he doesn't just limit himself to like making a song just about ponies. He also like puts in other stuff he likes and like adds like more meaning to it than just about the show, but like what the themes of the show can represent. I also think there's like a lot of dream pop there. Like some aspects of his work like remind me of people like Beach House. Like,
oh yeah,
especially his later stuff, like under the SGAP label. That's really the main 2 labels, I'd say.
Yeah, dream pop, plunderphonics. That is very accurate, I'd say.
Yeah, when you said plunderphonics, it made me think like he's not just mixing together samples, but ideas and inspirations. And it's sort of like a conceptual plunderphonics in a way.
Yeah. It's all the same sort of mindset that goes into making plunderphonics, even if you're not, doing it in the conventional way, the pogo conventional way.
Yeah, even the lyrics are like direct quotes from philosophers. It's like a lyrical plunderphonics.
It's very much its own thing. I think that's probably like a huge reason as to why people are so drawn to it, is because there really is nothing like it.
His work is very unique. Like, there are definitely people I can compare elements of it to, but like on it as a whole, I think his style is very unique and like distinguishable.
Absolutely, yeah. Gap core.
Gap core. Yeah, we already talked about how you learned about SGAP, but was there anything else you wanted to add to that story?
Well, like I said a bit before, like we started recording, Like, I actually didn't really join the Discord or like talk to many people about SGAP. I mostly just like looked into his stuff independently and like lurked the Reddit. Like for the first 2 years, I joined like the Discord like around like early 2018, if I remember correctly. And like, so for like a lot of like 2000, like when I first found out about him around like 2015, 2016 to then, I mostly just kind of was doing my own thing. Like, and I didn't really know anyone else who liked his stuff, like firsthand. Yeah. And like, this was during like, if the timeline sounds familiar to anyone, this was around the time like the whole Mirrors for Princes thing started happening. And like, part of me kind of wishes I'd joined sooner just so I would have someone to talk to about that, because that was quite a saga.
Right.
Yeah. There's some amazing Mirrors for Princes stuff. Especially a mix of some songs I like. That's the good stuff.
Oh yeah.
Look at
One of my favorites for sure.
look at Daniel's AMV of that if you haven't seen it. It's very sick. Probably like
I've
the
seen
upload
it,
of the
I think.
song on YouTube that has the most views.
I actually, now that we're talking about it, I made that AMV just because there weren't any uploads of the song on YouTube at the time.
Oh, nice.
So, is it the only one?
Last I
Probably.
checked, yeah.
That's amazing. Well, I'm glad it's finally getting like some recognition, just because like that having an AMV on that as the only upload is kind of genius, because it's gonna like bring in this audience of like completely different people to this whole rabbit hole of music.
Right. Another entry point somebody in the future might find.
That's the whole goal with growing a following. Like that's the only reason why you'd want to, is just like when you get popular enough, you can just like give SGAP to a whole new generation of people. You can just drop it on them.
You're like, here you go. Have this.
I see no other reason why you'd want to be remotely famous at all, you know? That's the only like conceivable reason I can think of.
Yeah,
The
I
only
wonder,
reason.
maybe someday somebody will discover SGAP through Sound Bandits. That work.
I think I would like to hope so, that there are people that where that's been the case. I always talk about SGAP like on the Sound Bandit Twitter, and you know, I like sample SGAP and like do remixes of his shit. So hopefully I can spread the word, but Sound Bandit is still very small, you know. Not trying to really grow it either. Just trying to make cool tunes.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
I did have a question, maybe before we go into the break. So Bovely, you said you wish you had the community around when Mirrors for Princes was still a thing. So was there
Yeah.
anything like you would have said or done with the community?
Well, the main reason I say that, like, is because, like, as the posts were still coming out, like, all the really cryptic shit, like, as well as the new, like, song snippets. Because, like, I feel like there would have been some really interesting conversations around that I would have loved to taken part in. Like, I really only saw it from the outside with, like, a few of, like, the fan blogs and the Reddit. But, like, there was just so much going on. Like, especially with the whole, like, delete SGAP thing and the fact that, like, fans clearly love and, like, want to archive his work, but he was like, no, don't bury my old stuff. And I get it. Like, I totally get where both sides are coming from. And I think it's a really interesting conversation to have, like, about, like, what you can do with art once it's really out of your hands and you've shared it with people.
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack there, but like Mirrors for Princes, the blog kept posting these like philosophical, like really abstract, obscure quotes. And yeah, it would have been nice to like discuss these things with people. I wasn't in the Discord either. I think it was just getting started at the time in 2017.
Yeah, I think it was a Skype group in like, I think it might have been made 2015 or 2016, the Skype group. And then we all transitioned over in a Discord in more ways than one. We all transitioned over. But yeah, it's a good little community, and I think it shouldn't stop you just because we're in current year to bring up a good old Mirrors for Princes conversation. Like, General is always open, you know? You can just come in there and be like, hey, what did he mean by this? And then people will start chatting about it. I think the server's a little like confusing maybe to some that want to talk about SGAP, because there is no like explicitly laid out like SGAP discussion channel. But I always say like just do it in general, because you know, general is like, in my eyes, the place for that. But I guess it's like intimidating because that's the one that most people read, I guess. But
yeah, like I've been in here for a long time, and I feel pretty comfortable just bringing stuff up here. Like even though it's the SGAP channel, I don't actually talk very much about him or his music. I mostly just talk about my own fandom stuff. But like, I also like, I think the big part of why I haven't brought it up like in the present day is less because like I find it intimidating, or like it's more because like I don't know what I really would add that hasn't already been said in like the past like 5-6 years. like I said, there is a lot to unpack there, but like I've seen most of like what thoughts came to mind like already have been discussed before in that time in the server. And like I get the feeling that this happened like 2017 isn't like super old, but it happened a decently long time ago, and a lot has happened since then. Like, and I don't want to like run the risk of like bringing up dirty laundry, I guess. Like I know that like I don't want I again, like David's kind of a secretive guy. Like I know that like other than like Samosis, like not many people really directly contact him much. But like I don't know like if how much like he still like stands by like what he said during that time, and how much he's kind of moved on. And I don't want to like bring it up too much and make anyone uncomfortable, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is true that like, you know, nobody really knows him personally, you know, except like you said, Kylie. But I don't think it's like weird or too personal to just bring up like posts that he was making on his Tumblr that he knew was public and, you know, was for his fans. Like, I feel like all the communication that SGAP has like had outwardly, like to the internet and to his fan base or whatever, like I think that's fine to go back and look at and be like, oh, I wonder what this was all about. But yeah, like you said, you know, he probably is a completely different person. Like, I know that I am from what I was in 2017, but that's too much speculating into his into who he is, because I don't really care, you know. I just like the bangers.
I guess you're right, yeah. Like, and he's not going to see any of this anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I'm probably overthinking this.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, though. Like, I do remember thinking back on it, there was a bit of, like, uncertainty about, like, how SGAT was receiving it. I remember, don't want to name any names, but, like, I think Mirrors for Princes had blocked a couple of Tumblr blogs for, like, reblogging the posts. So there's definitely I see why that's a sensitive spot.
I didn't know about this, or maybe I forgot. So yeah, that is a good thing to bring up.
Yeah, but on the other hand, I do agree. Like some of these quotes, like if we take the quotes in isolation and talk about like he reblogged this like short Zen poem, like it's like two fingers snapping in the silence, and as a 17-year-old, like I just thought about that every day. Like, what the hell does that mean? Two fingers snapping in the what?
You were like, bruh, what is this? The post
Really
that
makes you
really
think.
stood out to me, I guess, is like the one like Sunday morning AMV. Like, I have a lot of mixed feelings about it.
Oh yeah.
Because on one hand, like, that was how I found out about the song somehow. And it's a good song. I like the song a lot. And the animation style's cool. But there were also some elements that were weirdly sexual. And like some of the characters definitely look like kids. And I'm like,
Sounds like anime.
this kind of makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I do remember that. That was odd. I don't know. Should I link that in the description?
Maybe not.
Maybe.
Maybe that's what you have to dig deep for.
Okay. We'll leave that up to interpretation.
Viewers' discretion is advised on any sneaky peets that try to find that. I didn't know or watch that. Like I forget how involved I was with seeing all of like the posts from Mirrors for Princes. I mainly just remember obsessing over the songs. That's what I've been focused on the most from that era because they're so good.
They are. I mean, it's some of his best stuff.
Yeah, like for real. Well,
minimal,
I think it is very minimal, very short. I think we should take a short break here, and then come back, finish things off. We're about halfway through.
Okay, yeah, sounds good to me.
We shall never get to dream. Who needs all that forgetting? There's a tapestry of stars.
Welcome back. We just had our break.
Yep.
It's a beautiful Saturday outside.
Yeah, it's snowing where I am.
Really?
Yeah, somehow.
Is that beautiful to you?
It's beautiful, yeah. It's
There you go.
kind of odd that it's happening in March, but it's beautiful.
I've heard people talking about this snow, but I just don't got it over here. It's like pretty sunny out.
Yeah, it's pretty sunny here too. Then again, we both live in Madison, so.
Yeah. It's true.
Wait, you're both in the same area?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really? I
we
didn't know.
found out recently.
Yeah, I moved out here recently, and we've been trying to meet up, but like with all the COVID stuff, it is a bit scary, so we've just been waiting for the right time.
I've also been like, I haven't been home as much because my university's like an hour away, so that also complicates matters.
Yes.
Oh. Wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
I thought we were all spread out.
For the most part, we are.
I legit had no idea that you lived so close to me. Like, I knew you lived relatively near me, but I didn't realize you lived in Madison. Like, I thought you were, like, still in Chicago land area until, like, we talked about Geeks Mania. And, like, I was like, wait a minute, that's my favorite arcade. You were like, hey, I worked here. You worked here?
Wait, I didn't work at that one. I worked at a different arcade.
Oh, okay. My bad.
No, it's fine. But yeah, no, I've been there and it's amazing. They have like a F-Zero there, which is like insane.
I've never noticed. I mostly just play the pinball machines and Mario Kart.
Yeah, there's a lot of great games there. A lot of really obscure games there. Like they have an original Monkey Ball machine, but it's really not in great condition at all. At least last time I went there. But just having that is like it's very, very rare to see one of those.
I've played it a few times. It's fun, but the joystick sucks. It needs some repairs.
Yeah, it makes it like, at least when I was playing it, it made it like pretty much impossible to like even play the game at all. Like it just
I couldn't get past like level 2.
Yeah, but at least everything's on free play, so you can just walk around and play whatever, whenever. It's very nice.
Yeah, that's nice. And like, there's no limit. You can do it all as long as it's like in the same day. Like you can do it as much as you want.
Just like completely binge arcade games.
Yeah, the only like issue is really like the DDR machine's always packed. So I really like DDR and I want to play. I just can't because there's usually a line of like 5 people.
That's crazy because like the 2 or 3 times I went there, the DDR room was just like open with no one in there. I don't know. I also like was getting like pad misses on the machine and like I think it's out of sync as well. So
yeah, I don't think it's like really in great shape.
It's in okay shape. It's just like I don't think it's well maintained and I don't think they know how to sync it well. I think eventually I'll talk to the guys and see if I can like change the sync on it. So it's actually
can I repair your DDR machine for you?
I mean, they might also let me do maintenance on the pads. Like, I don't know if they're modded. Anyways, enough enough arcade talk.
I wanted to talk about this dream I had this morning because I dreamed about recording this podcast. I was like running to catch a bus. And I got on the bus and Bobby was there and she was like, come on, we're going to be late to record the podcast. And I was like, okay, let me just pay for the bus ride. And I didn't have my wallet. And I was like, can you cover it for me? And she was like, I don't have any cash on me and I paid with my bus card and it's like you can only do it once, so I had to like get off the bus and run back to my house, and that's pretty much all I remember.
There wasn't any dream version of the podcast, like of us actually doing the podcast.
No, but apparently it would be in person. Apparently it was a bus to Madison.
Really? All right. I mean, I guess it would be. Yeah. Now that you know that, yeah.
It sounds a lot like those dreams where like you wake up and you're like doing stuff you'd normally do, and like you're in a hurry to like go to work or school or like to a friend's house or whatever, and like you wake up like, oh, that didn't happen. I have to do that again.
Yeah, I hate that. It's like you get so sucked into a dream and then you wake up, you're like, oh, what? That was a fucking dream.
Yeah, and like I have ones about like talking to people like on Discord or Instagram a lot, and I wake up, I'm like, wait, that conversation didn't happen.
Yeah,
Oh
That
yeah,
happens to
that's
me
weird.
sometimes.
Because like you imagine these conversations that happen through text. That's really interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're usually like pretty mundane things, like things I could like. I usually don't remember all the details after a few hours. Like I can't really think of any of them offhand. But like I just wake up and I look and I'm like, wait, that conversation didn't happen. And it's usually just like mundane things that like I could very easily see, like the friends I was dreaming about talking about.
Right. We were talking about rhythm games. Sometimes I play those in my dreams. They're always
Oh,
like
really?
really weird. Yeah, and something always feels wrong. Like I go to play them, and then it feels like I'm falling over and can't focus on the screen or something.
Oh boy.
Probably too much for my brain to like create. It can't run the game. Can only make like a weird hybrid machine. A lot of the times it's just like this weird like Frankenstein machine of just like 2 or 3 different rhythm games mashed into one that I'm like somehow trying to play.
404 error not found.
Yeah.
Dreams are
That's a
great.
great dream.
Dreams are
great.
weird.
They are also very weird, yeah.
I just love being able to like look into somebody's subconscious that way.
It's really interesting, like, because sometimes you can tell a lot about people about what they dream about.
Yeah.
Like
Sometimes it's
something
just
I've-
like complete nonsense as well.
Yeah, mine are usually nonsense. I don't think you're gonna be able to glean much from mine except like what stuff I like. Cause mine mismatch like celebrities and fictional characters and like stuff all the time.
It sounds fun.
It's very chaotic. I also get dizzy a lot in them. Like I like the world spinning and I can't really like I get lost in like big like malls and buildings a lot in my dreams.
Yeah.
Like liminal spaces.
Yeah. Sometimes they're crowded with people, sometimes it's just empty. It really depends. But I'm pretty much always dizzy and can't use technology properly.
Yeah. So back to SGAP, what would you say the significance is that SGAP has in your life? Or SGAP's music, rather?
Well, like, he's definitely one of my favorite musicians, and like listening to him for so long and like finding this community around his music has made a big impact on me. I've made like a lot of friends through like the Discord server, and I feel I've had a lot of good times here, and I feel like I wouldn't be like have met most of you if I didn't know about SGAP or like just pony music in general. I would probably be in different communities instead, like with completely different stuff. Like, I also like it also like I did find one person outside of like the Discord and like the community specifically for his music who like his stuff. We aren't super close, but like, but we had a moment, and I was like, "Hey, that's cool. Like, what are the odds of that?" And
SGAP in the wild.
that was a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I really think the community like around his music has been a lot more like influential and like significant to me than his music itself. So really like his music leading me there, I think is the main thing.
Yeah, I mean earlier when we were talking about how you got into SGAP, you mentioned joining the Discord as like a big step in that journey.
Yeah, it was nice to just have some people to talk to about this stuff. Cause like, sure, I said a comment or two on Reddit like about it, and like I've talked to a few of my other friends about it, but they didn't really know who SGAP was, and like Reddit isn't like the Reddit's pretty small. There's only like 500 odd people. So it's not really like very conductive to have conversations, like because only one or two people like post like each month or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, so having someone I could actively talk to about this stuff was great, and who generally have similar interests and like interest as me, and like I feel like I found a lot of people who like I really click with here.
Yeah, same. That's it's also really great to hear, you know, like I'm glad that so many people have been able to like meet and bond through like just SGAP being like the sort of center, maybe not the center, but just the thing that like got everyone together.
Yeah,
Exactly.
We all have the same entry point, but
Yeah,
we don't necessarily talk about SGAP every day.
No, it's honestly not too often when SGAP gets brought up or his music gets brought up. Like, not as often
really,
as you
no.
would think. Yeah.
Maybe like a couple times a month, and whenever a new person comes in. When someone new comes in, it usually like becomes more of a topic again for a little while. Then we just move on to talking about other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm curious, you said you met somebody outside of the community or the Discord server. Was this meeting in person or online?
Online. It was in another Discord server.
Oh, okay.
Their name's like Lonnie, I think. I haven't talked to them in years. They left a while ago, and like I kind of just only have really had a few conversations with them. But like we had that moment when I shared like an SGAP song in like the chat. I was like, "Hey, you like his music too."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where are all these people like in the server? Like, I wonder why all these SGAP fans that are just scattered about just don't join it. Because, you know, even if you don't want to be in the community, it is like a surefire way to get notified when there's new SGAP stuff that'll come out. Hopefully.
That's true, yeah.
Like, we'll add everyone for it.
Every SGAP fan, come in here.
Please, we need the numbers. We need the SGAP census.
We need to get our we need to get our analytics up.
Yeah. We're trying to grow. Actually, I don't know. I don't think we've ever been trying to get more people necessarily. It's kind of
happens.
active. Very active now. With a
like
decent
just
amount of people.
A few people a month just kind of come in from wherever, either other people link them here or they just kind of end up here somehow, usually by falling down the same rabbit hole we did.
Yeah. Or it's
noticed
people looking back and they never like even thought that there would be a community for it, and they're just stumbling upon it for the first time, and they've been a fan for years. I've seen that a lot.
Yeah.
And that's like really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on one hand, there's like the really old fans just discovering the community, but I also notice new people coming in because of our events, like Acid Unicorns.
Yeah.
Like some people just come for Acid Unicorns.
Yep.
I remember someone coming in specifically because of this podcast like a few weeks ago, and I found that really interesting because I thought it'd usually be the other way around.
Yeah.
Oh, me too. That really surprised me. Because
I mean,
yeah.
Guess that is like one of the goals by making this podcast is if someone somehow stumbles upon this, like through looking up SGAP or something, that they'll know, hey, there's a place where you can talk with other fans and it is fun.
Sure. I mean, I think it's a happy coincidence. I wouldn't call it a goal.
Yeah.
My goal is just to talk with people and get to know them better, who are already in the community.
Yeah, that's probably a better goal. It's
Yeah.
been really great to kind of pick people's brains and like just get different perspectives on what people think about SGAP's music and how they got here. Been very fun so far.
Yeah. I mean, if I could say the reason I started the podcast was because I think there were a few people who I didn't get to interview for the documentary, and there were only 4 interviews in the documentary, and I really wanted it to be a community thing, like with everyone in it, and so this podcast is sort of like a replacement for that.
Like supplemental material.
Yeah. The spillover from the documentary watchers.
Yeah, and I feel like in some ways, like doing this is a little easier, like to get people on board and just talk to them than like a documentary interview situation. Because like then like you have to worry a bit less about editing. Like it's easier to just go, hey, you want to talk on a video call? Than like actually just like record a video like and like specifically like asking like scripted questions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is more like relaxed, more of a conversation as opposed to like a formal sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So have we talked about, I think we have talked a bit about your feelings on the SGAP community, Bovely. If there's anything else you want to say about that, then feel free. But if not, we can move on.
I think I've about covered everything. Like I've generally had positive experiences here. Like it's not really that like deep for me. It's just like I like talking to people, sometimes going calls to watch movies and play games and just, hang out. Like both SGAP stuff and just other normal life stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it's a great place.
If you don't mind talking about it, I notice like a lot of us use the server as sort of like a support group.
Mm-hmm.
And I notice you're pretty active in the support channel, I think. Not, yeah, I mean, and it's a good thing. Like we can like talk about these things with like difficult topics with people who are maybe not necessarily too close to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I've noticed like in some ways, like it's easier for me to like both talk about the hard stuff going on in my life and like listen to people like and what like give advice or just provide an ear like online than it is in person sometimes. And like I kind of hang out like in that chat because like it's a really good service, and I think something that people do like one of the things I like the most about this server is that people like are very good at listening. Like they might not understand all the time, but we're willing to listen, and like even if you don't say anything, you at least provide an emoji so people listen. And I think that's really nice. It's kind of corny to say, but yeah.
It feels great to get a hug emoji when posting in that channel, not gonna lie.
Oh, for sure. It's not cheesy at all.
Yeah. I'm glad that people are able to use that like to just like sometimes it is hard to talk about certain things that are going on in your life, and like just putting it out there and seeing what people think about it like can be very validating. It's a really nice little channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say it's for a while, like I had the whole server muted except for that channel, and I would just like look at people's like wonderings about what's happening in their life. I think it seems like the most genuine place in the server.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, like the channels I'm probably the most active in are like that channel, the art channel, like the LGBT channel, because I talk a lot about trans stuff there. And and the pet channel, because I like cute animals. Most of how I communicate with people is just sharing cute animal videos.
The pet channel's really good.
Yeah, I love that.
Waka's a real one. Like,
Yeah.
he is like giving us so many good like pet videos.
This is so true.
Oh, I'd love to have Waka on here.
We need to get
That'd be
Taka.
great.
Such a wholesome guy.
We definitely.
I love him. He's one of the people I think I'm closest to on here.
Ah,
Yeah, he's great. Very fun to have around. We absolutely need to get Bulk Bogan on here though. Like,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
because the world needs to know about Bulk Bogan. His episode will be, I mean, it might be a bit different. It might be a bit of a different tone than all the other ones, but when that happens, it will be a good day.
can't wait to hear that.
Me too.
We'll make it happen.
It'll have to happen. It'll happen.
So any
Well-
thoughts? Yeah.
No, you good.
Yeah. Any thoughts on why people are still so attached to SGAP all these years later?
Well, I think that like a lot of it is like a combination of like his music's very memorable. Like we were saying earlier, his like style of music and like art in general is very unique. Like his visual art style is very unique and cool too. Like his album art and just the art he's done for other pony musicians and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
and like I think it really stands out in people's minds. Like a lot, I haven't met a lot of people who like are SGAT fans or have listened to his music and just kind of go, "This is cool," and just kind of forgets about him and moves on. It like his stuff really sticks with people. And I think that's the reason why this fandom and like this community has lasted so long, and we're still talking about him on a regular basis. Like he just fills a very unique niche, and like he's done a lot of cool stuff like that. Really, there's a lot to talk about. And I think that that's really a testament to that. I also think part of it is like his like presence like online and like how like he handles things like is also very this word always gets me, enigmatic and unique. And like
Yeah.
Sure.
that like not a lot of people have really like I can't really think of another artist. Like I know a few other musicians who like are insecure about their work and have deleted stuff a lot, but not like there's kind of a cryptic like element to some of what he does that like however you feel about it, I think does also like keep people's attention. Like some of his social media presence, especially with like the whole Mirrors for Princess thing, almost feels like ARG like. Like I was
Yeah.
like really involved in like the Gravity Falls fandom while like the show was still airing, like back in 2014-15.
Yeah.
And like the whole Mirrors for Princess thing reminded me a lot of like a smaller scale version of like the ciphers and like the whole cipher hunt that was happening like around the like the end of Gravity Falls is like airing, just like people looking all over to find stuff and like figure out what was happening.
Yes. Yeah, Mirrors for Princes is very ARG vibes. I think that's why someone tried to make the fake SGAP ARG on the subreddit
Yeah.
that one time. That shit was really funny.
Yeah.
We still don't know who did that.
I think
No
it was
one's
David.
ever came out. It was David. That's why at the time David's significant other posted saying, "Hey, this is not David. Please do not do this."
I mean, that's
It's-
just like him to like tell us to do that.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, I think the odds are pretty high. It was him.
Well,
Personally.
case closed. We solved it on the podcast today.
We solved it. Like,
Well-
the whole thing, like, I just can't speak again with Gravity Falls. It reminds me a lot of the time, like, where, like, they were, like, some of the fans are getting, like, a little too close, like, to figuring out who the author was, like, on Tumblr. And, like, so, like, Alex Hirsch threw off the fans by, like, leaking, like, an image of, like, McGucket writing the journals.
Oh my gosh.
Like, as a screenshot, like, inside, like, one of the production offices at Disney. And, like, everyone was like, oh my god, McGucket wrote the books! But then after, like, it was revealed in the end of the first season who really wrote the books. He took a picture of himself next to it and, like, just revealed that he leaked it to throw people off.
Yeah.
And,
I don't know
like,
who McGucket is.
just old, like, this old dude, like, character in Gravity Falls. Like,
He's the old man.
yeah, the old man,
The
like,
long beard.
he used to be, like, this big scientist
Oh.
guy, but so he went through some shit, and he's not like he once was. He's kind of out of it a lot of the time.
I think I've seen this man before.
Yeah, he has, like, a long beard and overalls.
Little long gray beard man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of ARG stuff and cryptic SGAP stuff, what are your thoughts on the delete SGAP stuff?
Again, like, I've kind of alluded to it and, like, touched on it a bit earlier, like, in this podcast, but I have a lot of mixed feelings towards that. Like, on one hand, like, even though I'm not a musician and I don't know much about, like, music production in general or, like, music theory, like, I do a lot of, like, visual art and, like, so, and, like, I'm not very happy with a lot of my old work. I archive it and I keep most of it up, but, like, I'm just like, my anatomy was bad. This is embarrassing. Like, so, and, like, I very much get the feeling behind it that, like, he looks at his old work, and, like, the reason why he deleted and privated a lot of it and, like, did a lot of the delete SGAP stuff was, like, my old work I don't like it anymore. I don't really feel like it represents me, and, like, it's the kind of stuff I want to put out there. And it kind of bothers me that people keep bearing it up. And, like, I get that. I get how that's kind of a weird feeling and how it's not necessarily pleasant all of the time. But, and I think on some level that feeling is valid and should be respected. But I also think that, like, it's only natural. People like his work. People want to archive it and listen to it again. It really stuck with people in a positive way. And there were a few cases, like, around that time where people did go a bit too far and dig, like, in his personal business, sure. But by and large, most people didn't. They were just, like, regular fans who like his music and wanted to know what happened to him and, like, wanted to, like, see if, like, why he disappeared and wanted to meet other people who liked his stuff too. And I really don't I really think that the way he handled it was a bit harsh. Like, I feel like could have been like a way less like judgmental, delete everything way of approaching that. I like going say going like I feel like a way that like it could have been like he could have done it that might have been a little better received, but still gotten the same point across that, hey, could you like stop sharing around my old stuff? I don't really like it anymore. Like, while respecting that people still like it and want to listen to it, is like what I saw with like what's his name? Like this YouTuber, like some Jordan Underground. Yeah. Jordan Underground, he like reviewed a lot of like horror video games. Like he's around like the same like size popularity as SGAP's music, I think. Got a few hundred views in his videos, like not huge, but like pretty well known in like the video game review like space and like just fandom review space in general, like especially for like his Silent Hill like reviews. And after a certain point, like he was really unhappy with his work and he took most of it down, and he like started off with new stuff, which he's doing now, which mostly is like short animations and like music and like occasionally stuff with puppetry. And like for a while people were wondering in a similar way to SGAP, like what happened to him? Like where'd he go? Like why isn't he making like video game reviews anymore? And eventually like in recent years, like he made like an archive channel like with a lot of his old work, and like kind of put a preface in them, like saying like I think like this preface is like in the Silent Hill 2 one, like basically like he's not making them anymore, like he'd prefer not to share them because some of like he doesn't feel like it represents who he is very well anymore, like, and he was kind of going through a lot when he was making them, like in his personal life, and like it's okay if you watch them and I'm glad you like them, but like I would prefer you just keep it on this channel, and I'm probably not going to be making any more. I'd mostly like to stick with my new stuff. And eventually he did also make a video on his main channel about it, but I feel like that situation's like, I can't speak for David, of course, but like the some of the circumstances around like Jordan Underneath's like how he deleted his content is very similar to like SGAP, and I feel like approaching it that way might have been a bit gentler way of like telling that to the fandom while also understanding where we're coming from.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so captivating about like, you know, the way SGAP treats this stuff. It's because he doesn't do that. In fact, he's like he just like will release something, can't even like get it in a higher quality than what it is on YouTube, and then it's just gone forever. So you have to like grab it yourself if you want it. I don't know. I feel like he's always kind of been this way ever since he started doing that. And I think everyone kind of would prefer if he were to just not do that and like maybe make an archive channel, or maybe, you know, just have his work out there officially in some way. But like, maybe that's like, I don't know, maybe there's a rhyme and reason to it. Maybe there's a purpose for him like only having his work up and only having it be alive for however long he decides it to be, you know. And it's up to you if you want to go out of your way to find like a re-upload of it or an archive of it or something.
I guess, yeah. I think the main thing that really, like, I wish there was more of, like, on his part, and which was the main thing that I really disagreed with about the whole delete SGAP thing, is the communication. I feel like a lot of, like, the issues he was having, like, with, like, people, like, of course, like, this is excusing the people who did that behavior. Like, they should have left him alone. But, like, people who went a bit too far, like, in, like, kind of invading his privacy, and, like, people, like, who, in general, are just curious about what's happening. Like, a lot of this would be, like, avoided, or at least better managed, if he had more direct communication with us about why he's doing what he's doing. Like, communication's important. Doesn't have to be like a whole archive channel even, or like anything like long or drawn out. But like just explaining like, hey, I'm taking these down because I'm not happy with them anymore. Like as like a place of where a lot of people can see, not just like a comment in like an obscure blog or like in a YouTube comment section or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
but like, I just wanted more of an explanation, you know. I understand. Like, I get where he's coming from and I respect what he's doing. I just wish there was more communication so we weren't just left hanging here for so many years, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that probably the biggest announcement and the one we always talk about is the delete SGAP post on Hoarseness. And the way that it's formatted is almost like a poem. And
It's so cryptic.
really, like, yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people talk about it as if deleting it is part of the art project, because of the way that's worded like a poem.
Mm-hmm.
But I totally agree that, like, if SGAP had put out maybe something more human, maybe something more, you know, clear and less cryptic, yeah, it would have been received differently.
Yeah, and again, like, it doesn't have to be like anything like deeply personal or anything. I just want like an explanation, like going, hey, this is why this is happening. Like, this is what I will and won't do, or at least what I'm planning to do going forward. Like, just like not disappearing things with no warning, or like archiving or privating things with no warning, or pretty much everything about Mirrors for Princes just popping up. Like, I'm also like really into like lost media and like hunting for like lost media, and also like am into like a lot of other obscure fandom stuff, and like where people like the authors like and the creators behind it haven't released something new in many years or haven't even communicated to us at all in many years. And like this kind of stands out as a special case on mine, because like instead of like looking for something or going like, okay, we're not hearing anything, he is talking to us, like, and he is like fairly regularly communicating with his fandom, but he's not doing it in a way that really it provides more questions than answers. Like, it's very like full of like very poetic and philosophical stuff. And on one hand, like, I get it. Like, a lot of his work centers around that. We like in analyzing that stuff, and it's fun. But I also wish that there would be more direct communication about like the meat and potatoes, like the main like stuff he's doing, like, and then just do that about like other stuff in general as well, because then those questions, the main questions we're asking, will be out of the way, and we can have more time doing the fun stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the eras of SGAP and his relation to communication with like the fan base, it kind of started as like, you know, he would respond to people's comments back when he went by SGAP, and that would be like the most like direct form of communication you can get to him, is talking with him in the comments. But a lot of it is one way, like where he'll like write out a description or something, and he's just like talking about his work and maybe giving like a little bit of an update. And then like after he left that channel and came back as Mirrors for Princes, he was like responding to Tumblr DMs and stuff, and like actually like, you know, chatting with people a bit. And of course like that ended, and then when he came back as Captive Unicorns, there's like pretty much no communication. There's no descriptions on the YouTube videos. He's just uploading these songs. It's like one name, you get a picture, and then he's on the Twitter just posting these weird like quotes from things, these excerpts from like books and just whatever. And during the Captive Unicorns era, he has not really. It's pretty much only been one-way communication, and like it's also debatable whether the Captive Unicorns era is ongoing or not. We don't really know. But yeah,
I
like
think the fact
it's
that
interesting.
like he hasn't released like a song under that monk here in like 2 years, and we don't know if it's going or not, like says a lot.
Yeah. It's a weird state that we're in right now.
Sure. I think his style is really like, it just brings me back to like the philosophical thing, like thinking about like concepts in a really abstract way, posting these quotes, and having like a really pure, like minimal style of communication. There's never been, or not in a long time, we haven't seen like something human. I mean, like, I feel like there's sort of like an effort to obscure the fact that there's a person behind it, and an effort to like elevate the abstract concepts that the art project is trying to convey.
Yeah.
Yeah, something about that seems very philosophical to me. Like, there's not so much of the like person behind it. I think deliberately hiding the humanness, the horseness.
Yeah, I mean, what we're left with Captive Unicorns right now is just like the Twitter with the bio that just says a picture held us captive, and we couldn't get outside it, for it lay in our language, and language seemed only to repeat it to us inexorably. So what does that mean?
That I have no idea. All of that goes way over my head, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Can I give it a shot? I mean,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, go for it.
I think I liked that quote a lot, and it's about the limitations of language, things that we cannot talk about, like experiences that we have that just aren't captured by words. And I think art is all about like attempting to capture that, the experiences that happen outside of language.
Yeah. Wow. See, that makes sense now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a really good
the other
takeaway.
cryptic stuff he did. Should start an SGAP explained YouTube channel.
Right, or like a podcast.
Or even a podcast, yeah, where you can talk about this stuff. That would be crazy.
Wow, what a concept.
I should have like guests on it, like rotating guests.
Nah.
That'd be too much.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Well, Bovely, I think we're nearing the end here. Is there anything else that you'd like to quickly talk about or send people off with?
I think I'm good here. I enjoyed talking with you two.
I did as well. Very good.
Yeah. I have one more question. What do you want to name this episode?
If I'm gonna be honest with you, I have no idea.
Okay, we can talk about it like something that summarizes what the whole conversation.
Okay, yeah, I'm fine with pretty much anything, honestly.
The flip note finder.
Flip note finder. Oh yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, Bovely. This has been really great.
Yeah.
We solved the world's problems yet again on our episode. And
Yeah.
we solved all the SGAP lore. There's nothing more to think about. We did it, everybody.
We did it.
We did
We did
The
it.
end.
Congratulations.
There's
Finished the
nothing
ARG.
more. We won the game.
We won. We beat SGAP. Final
We
boss.
beat the ARG.
We did the boss level.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, everyone. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Bye.
Alright.
Is it